Okay guys, I want to give you value for your time watching me today. So what I want to explain to you is how we create macro sets for our clients using the data from the bod pod. So this morning you guys saw I ran my client Justine through the bod pod and it gave me a value known as her BMR. Her BMR stands for basal metabolic rate, not BMI. BMR is the amount of calories Justine's body will burn at rest in a day if she does nothing. And I mean nothing, just at rest. So based on her bod pod data, you can see here, her RMR or her BMR, she's a very petite individual, was 928 calories. So being a 5-foot female, 928 calories will sustain her at rest if she does nothing. I always have to add that in. Then what we do is we factor in her activity expenditure. Activity comes with two components. There's two components to activity. One, the structured workouts and training routine that we're putting Justine through, as well as her non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So basically what she's doing when she's not at rest sleeping and essentially doing nothing, and when she's not in the gym crushing weights, there's an in-between here. That's when she's sleeping and walking and moving and working, and all those things add into your non-exercise activity. The cool thing being, thank gosh, Justine has an Apple Watch. An Apple Watch gives you something known as your move goal. Your move goal is a combination of both of these things. So I had Justine track for me her activity over a 7-day period, and what I'm going to do is figure out what is the average amount of activity that Justine expends in one day. So Jess, can you give me a rundown on what the last 7 days of activity from your Apple Watch are? Read them off to me.
865.
Okay, 865.
330 was a rest day.
330. Okay.
770.
770.
953.
953.
540.
540.
858.
858.
And 870.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 870. Okay, so 1 second. What I'm going to do is I wrote all those numbers down and I'm going to find the average. So I add them all up and I divide by what number? 7, because there's 7 days in a week. And that gave me an average of 740 calories, okay? So this is all the stuff that we averaged, and we came out with 740. So bear with me, guys. If we take the amount of calories Justine's body burns at rest, and we add in the amount she burns through movement, essentially, we should be able to know without a reasonable doubt how many calories Justine burns in a day in total to maintain her weight. Right? Mm-hmm. Exactly. So that would be called her total daily energy expenditure. So when we add 928 and we plus that with 740, we get a value of 1,668 calories. Therefore, if Justine came to me and she said, Ashlyn, how many calories do I have to eat to maintain my weight right now doing all the stuff I did last week? I could confidently tell her, Justine, eat 1,668 calories. But that is not the case. Justine wants to see progress. Justine wants weight loss. Justine wants to step on stage eventually. So what we have to do is actually put her in some form of caloric deficit. She has to be eating some less than what she is burning every day in order to make that weight loss possible, okay? So what we've decided is we're gonna give her a push. We're gonna put Justine in a 15% deficit. That means essentially Justine should be getting 85% of what her body needs at rest every single day. The other 15% is going to be lost. That's how the weight loss is created, guys. So essentially when I'm making Justine's program, I'm not giving her 1,668 calories unless she wants to stay the same. What I'm going to feed Justine is 15% less than that, which is 1418. Feeding this person 1,418 calories will give me a 15% deficit. But that's just not it, guys. It's not just about calories. It's about, Ashlyn, where are my calories coming from? What percent of my diet is protein? What percent of my diet is carbs? And what percent of my diet is fat? And how the hell do these three things work with each other? So then I have to explain to her, Justine, in a day, calorie-wise, yes, you have to eat 1418, but it's about percentages as well. I would like to put her on a very moderate, healthy, balanced routine, and that requires some carbs, some fats, and some proteins. So what we decided on is she's going to eat 40% of her diet from carbohydrates. She's going to eat 30% of her diet from protein, and she's going to eat 30% of her diet from fat. The next step might be a little confusing if you don't understand nutrition, so bear with me. 40% of 1418 means that she's going to get 567 calories per day from carbohydrates. Calories, not grams, calories. But every gram of carbohydrate has 4 calories. So if she wants her macros in grams, which she does, then I have to divide this number by 4. That means Justine should eat 142 grams of carbohydrates every single day to maintain her 15% deficit and keep her macros consistent. Next step, how many calories of protein? Well, 30% of 1418 gives me 425.4. And there's 4 calories in every gram of protein, so again, we divide that number by 4. And we get 106 grams of protein. Next, fat. Fat has 9 calories per gram. So again, we have the 425 calories of fat, but this time we divide it by 9. When we divide it by 9, it gives us 47 grams of fat. Well, could you look at that? Now, I, as Justine's nutrition coach, have a budget to create her plan. Then I asked Justine, when do you want to be eating, Justine? Do you want a lot of your calories associated with breakfast or snacks, pre-workouts, post-workouts? Do you want to eat before bed? Now that I have a budget to work off of, then I can design a plan that is the perfect fit for you or the perfect plan for my client. If I had a budget of $10,000 and I said, use this budget to create a trip of your dreams, would you want to use the $10,000 to fly to Greece and stay there for a week? Or would you like to use the $10,000 to hang out in Southeast Asia in a hostel for 3 months? The choice is yours. The same thing with Justine's food budget. Would she rather eat 1 Pop-Tart or would she rather have 4 rice cakes? That's a question for Justine, and that's something that as a coach, I decide on with my clients. So at the end of the day, this is the knowledge I base things off of, but the plan that goes out to my clients is the foods and the things that they actually want to be eating as long as they fit the budget. I hope that makes sense, guys. Ciao.